Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's Star Report. This is Jason. I'm here at New Dimensions Crystals and Reiki in downtown Brenham, Texas. I think it is, I don't know what time it is. Maybe somebody needs to mute their screen on the other end. And it is 9:44 a.m. here on 12/27, so a couple days after Christmas 2023. And we start with the Sun Report, as we know that it is our closest star, and closest star is quiet this past week. If you were enjoying a very even though all the other energies were supposed to be triggering for the holidays, um, and whatnot, if you sort of experienced a low, uneventful, non-triggering Christmas, it's because the sun was quiet, right? The solar energy usually starts to give us our energy or not, right? It actually funds all life on Earth. And so when the energy of the sun is low, then we're sort of feeling low energy. And sometimes we have to substitute for that. You might have tried to over caffeinate and over sugar to make up for the loss, but that's okay. And what I mean by low energy is there was low flaring. There were even a low number of sunspots. And so there weren't any coronal mass ejections that were happening over the past week. Um, this coming up week, maybe not as calm. We have a large coronal hole that's moving towards the sun rotates just like the earth rotates, and so the coronal hole is coming in towards earth facing, and that should be earth facing around Thursday or Friday, so tomorrow, end of Friday, maybe even a little later. And then the coronal hole stream, right, so that shoots out. When it faces, it connects electromagnetically, and then it starts to put a current or a flow of plasma towards the earth, and so that flow will probably hit over the weekend, maybe into Monday. And so when we have coronal holes, that really increases earthquake watch, right? So it compresses the earth a little bit, and so that's when tectonic plates move. And so if you're in a earthquake place, pay attention to that. And the what else does it do? Oh, yeah. So the compression with us almost makes us feel heavy, and sometimes usually flaring is a high heart palpitation, sort of a increased heart rate or increased sort of anxiety. When we have the coronal holes, that's almost a compression. I wouldn't call it a depression, but it's almost just like it's a heaviness. You're moving through thick energy. So that's the sun and what's going on with it. And so, yeah, I think that's the sun. Pay attention pretty much all week when the plasma stream gets here. Sometimes there's a little bit of minor solar weather, aurora, and solar storms. And so those can be somewhat disrupting with technology, but not usually, although paired with Mercury retrograde, which is almost over. Then sometimes those are a little bit more intense than they usually are. Pay attention to that. Which moves us into today, Wednesday, the rest of the stars. We are still basking in and or experiencing full moon energy. Full moon is really a reset kind of energy. It's not the new beginnings, but it's a clearing of the old, right? So you want to think of the full moon extracts things that need to be let go or cleansed. And so that's why you will cleanse your crystals and stuff like that. So in the full moonlight, and why you make moon water, right? So that it's cleansing for the body and does all these kinds of cool things. Um, Also today, Chiron has gone direct. And so Chiron, if you weren't paying attention over every other report I've done, is about recognizing and uh, hopefully releasing old patterns, usually patterns that are from childhood. It's about healing past limitations where you thought you weren't good enough or where you allowed other people to sort of keep you from being what you really were. And adjusting for that, right? And so maybe installing habits that made those people less able to limit you in your life. And then really a whole bunch of self value and self worth, right? So Chiron direct, it's been retrograde for the last 5 months. So you want to think of all of the things that you've worked on that were sort of a hindrance, annoyance, patterns that you've been working on. A lot of people have expressed, especially coming in the shop, that this energy's just been annoying, that they can't really get past stuff, and that little things keep coming up, right? And so Chiron has really had a lot to do with that. And so think of the things that have been messing with you since late July and sort of just look at yourself now and how you've sort of matured by not participating in or breaking some of those old patterns, right? And so you might have been here at this last final test for the holidays, been able to extract yourself from the same bullshit that you usually get into at the holidays, right? So low energy from the sun and help from Chiron. You just sort of said, like, I don't need to like participate. I don't need this dopamine hit of triggering and fighting amongst family. And I'm just going to be an adult and you feel really freaking good. So awesome for you. Which leaves, excuse me, only three um, planets that are in retrograde currently, and that would be Mercury, uh, travel, communication, um, transform patterns, become more flexible, uh, old relationship imbalances or connections sort of come up to be examined, right? So a lot of times during Mercury retrograde, we have people come back into our life, just sort of give us that examination. Are we past that? Did we learn our lesson? Do we want to relearn that lesson, kind of stuff? And then Uranus is still in retrograde. Uranus is really about independence, trusting in your own sovereignty abilities, that you can get shit done and you don't necessarily need anybody else. This isn't about being isolated. This is about not conditioning your success on other people's acquiescence or help, kind of energy. And then Jupiter, which is going direct over the weekend. Jupiter's still in retrograde today, though, on Wednesday. And so that's really about career, redefining who you are, not necessarily defining yourself by career, but who am I and what kind of career do I deserve, or what kind of money do I need to be the person I am? Um, and sort of really believing in your own talents, right? So, your combination of talents, even if somebody is better at some things than you, is necessary and unique and powerful in the world if you decide to do that. And so honing your combination of skills or deciding and really identifying who you are makes you more powerful. And so Jupiter is helping you do that. So that's uh, what's going on today. Jupiter, this last little bit before it goes direct, is really trying to get you to pay a lot of attention, focus on not correcting the old you, but creating an all new you, right? So 2024 is going to be a really awesome year for everybody. And so that leads us into tomorrow, Thursday. Um, Thursday, you should probably just take a chill pill. The full moon energy, Chiron energy, all of that stuff sort of coming to a movement into a new direction, and sort of letting up beginning on Thursday. You want to let, I believe, Venus influence you, and just sort of soothe, right? Nice, loving, soothing. It's all going to be fine. And then really sort of focus on creating new rather than clearing old, right? So this is moving away from trying to clear or clean or get rid of clutter into, now that all that BS is gone, what can we do now for 2024? Leads us into Friday. Friday is really, you should focus on what you already know, right? So Friday is going to be, once you sort of working on this creation of a new stuff and you start to doubt yourself on Friday, um, you should start to focus on what you already know, right? And so that's inherently no, right? This isn't the time for, you need to find the right book, you need to find the right new program. This is, you're a new person, you're a badass. And so what within you, and that goes back to what I was talking about, that combo of things that you already know, what is that? That's what you should be doing on Friday. And then Saturday, Sunday, Jupiter moves direct. And this is really deciding the future you want, and adding and or continuing the steps to make that happen, rather than focusing on what you don't want, right? So this is, I think Joe Dispenza sometimes says this, is you can't create a current future you when you're focused on a current past you, right? And so I think that the mentality that he's getting at is really, if you continue to take with or focus on things that you no longer want or that should remain in the past, then that keeps your focus and the energy that would be needed to create a newness, that keeps that unattainable because you're stuck over here, right? And so when you sort of find a now and then can focus that future now, like this you wants to be that you, rather than this you really doesn't like being old you, right? Then you can create the more. That's what you should be doing on Friday, excuse me, Saturday and Sunday when Jupiter moves direct. Um, the future you want rather than the past you don't, which leads us to that Sunday is the last day of the year, and we're moving into 2024. 2024 is a 8 universal year, right? So 2024, 6 plus 2 is 8. So it makes it an 8 year. Last 8 last 8 year. It's also a dragon year. Dragons, nice mystical things, sometimes associated with all kinds of metaphysical awakenings, understandings. A lot of people work with dragons. There is like Diana Cooper is a real get in touch with your dragon kind of energy, if you want to look her up and sort of understand how you can relate to dragons if you're into that. And so the dragon energy in the dragon year and the 8 year, the last year there was a dragon year was 2012. Right. And a lot of people were experiencing sort of a phoenix understanding, that a rise of a fire dragon. And this is the wood dragon. That doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of difference. So 8 is the number of abundance. Dragon is the number of power, or the symbol of power and resurrection and all these mystical things, right? Dragons in a lot of lore are collectors or givers of treasure. And so you want to think of, there is an abundance that it is available to us, a newness, an abundance not yet seen. So pay attention to that. That'd be pretty cool. If you are zodiac, if your zodiac in the Chinese realm has the dragon in it, this is your year, right? The opposite of dragon is a dog, right? So sort of pay attention to people that might have sort of messed up my Zoom. Pay attention to people in your life that might be year of the dog. Those are sort of power points or pressure points. Or if you've always had this sort of back and forth with that, this might be year to be either free of it or in control of those situations. Oddly enough, sometimes even just owning a dog, if you're a dragon, causes issues, whether that's financial issues or opportunity issues, like, you can't go on vacation because your dog, or your dog chews something up, or your dog gets sick. All those kinds of things are sort of the conflictual energy of dragons and dogs. But really sort of look to taking that as the understanding of all the things that, if you're paying attention to this, I'm assuming you're paying attention in 2012, or maybe that's when you began awakening, all of the potentials of what we look to as apocalyptic and new start and metaphysical awakenings of 2012, those things are returning. Not necessarily in the fear sort of way, right? You know how 2012 turned out to be a real dud as far as cataclysms go. Everybody's like, oh, the earth is going to shatter, and all these doom and gloom movies about the end of civilization. So sort of take that with a grain of salt, that it's really a newness of civilization. It says, yeah, it's a new. Hello, Mercury retrograde. It's a newness of civilization, not necessarily a brokenness or a cataclysm of some sort. At least not this round. Maybe the next round of the dragon. That will be the case. But that leads us into Monday of the new year. Oh, last little thing on Year of the Dragon. That is a lunar calendar, so that won't be taking effect necessarily. People celebrate certain things, and it's usually about groupthink and hive mind that starts to create the reality. But it is a lunar calendar, and so Year of the Dragon doesn't start until February. It leads us into Monday, 1-1, Power Day, 1-1 meaning January the 1st. 1 is power gateway, right? Usually the number of the day of the month that it is. So it's the first month. So the first day of the first month is going to be that sort of power gateway, right? Helps us start off the new year right. Spend the day setting directions and goals. Like where do you want to point the ship, right? You've made all this stuff, all these understandings and working on yourself this past year. Now, where would you have liked that to take you, right? I know probably me included, like the last half of last year, all kinds of shit just got in the way, right? You want to be working on that stuff and then moving in the new direction while you're working on this stuff. But a lot of times that stuff needed to be completed before we could turn into a new direction. And so you have all of this potential because you've let so many things go and all the old patterns are going and you're just a you, right? You're this clear, this clarity, this understanding of yourself. And so in that sense of who you are, where would you like that to go, right? And then take steps or make plans to sort of get there. That's what you should be doing on Monday. Even if you've partied the night before, although I don't know if this crowd that watches my show is necessarily the ones that are out till midnight and partaking of large quantities of alcohol, but maybe some of you are. Anyway, when you wake up on the first, sort of make that your idea to master the future rather than continue to focus and be stuck in the past. Which leads us into Tuesday, the last day of the report. Man, it seems like I've been talking forever. Maybe I've just been talking slow. Maybe I'm just scatterbrained from the holidays. Maybe all the planetary stuff is messing with my mind finally. Tuesday, Mercury moves direct. Thank goodness. Um, Tuesday, Mercury direct, right? So communications get better. There still is a post Mercury retrograde shadow. So, pay attention that some things, if they're still not resolved, will resolve in the next couple of weeks, but that you can start to get back into starting relationships if you're looking towards that, adding contracts back, getting new cars, right? So you don't really want to buy a new car during Mercury retrograde because Mercury is about travel and movement and communication. And so you don't want to buy a car in retrograde because then maybe it's going to give you problems, be a limit, all that fun stuff. If you already bought one, there are fixes and it doesn't have to happen that way. I don't want to put that hurt on you. Also, Tuesday's an 11 master day, right? So that's the numerology of the day. It turns into an 11, right? So whenever we're at 11, it means the choices that we make really are undergirded by energy, that we are in choice, that we have power, and that they can happen, right? And so choosing all the things. Maybe Monday is a planning day, although it's still a 1-1, right? So it's kind of an 11. Tuesday is the day to start to enact those, especially since everything is closed on Monday and you can't get anything done. Tuesday, Master Day, and then that leaves us only Uranus left in retrograde after that. And so Uranus is about independence. How do you want to live, personal image, maybe get a haircut kind of stuff, or how would you like to sort of shape yourself, and then the courage about being who you really are, not giving a crap what anybody else thinks about that, right? So if you've been wanting to cut your hair, or you like a certain style of clothes that makes you look old, or isn't in fashion, but it just, you like the way it accentuates your body. You like the way it feels in the cold winter if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. All that stuff, if you've been worrying about that, Uranus is still in retrograde. It'll be out by the end of January, but you're still working on those kinds of things, those kinds of issues of self-image. And then when you do that, really what you're doing is you're creating a unattached, meaning that you are not governed by other people's opinions on getting stuff done, right? And that's, job, where you want to live, all that kind of stuff. So it makes you a little bit more powerful. So that's still going to be the last retrograde. The shop is still closed. We'll be closed here in Brenham until January the 3rd. So next Wednesday, when the report goes up, I will be in the shop and you can come by and get some stuff and some things if you are in the area. I'll be out of the office end of the month of January, so pay attention to that. Everything that is blocked off, should be already blocked off in the computer. So if you want to book something and there's an availability, you should still be able to get that. So pay attention and look to book online at newdimensionscrystals.com. I know some of you have checked out my TikTok, Jason W. Courthauer on TikTok. And I got a couple things up there, sort of pattern stuff, how to sort of be metaphysical or spiritual, or a combination of those kinds of things for betterment of self and body. Kind of information's up on that. Let's see. Oh, one little note. Individual sessions will be increasing in 2024. I left them the same in 2023. So 2022 and 2023 were the same. So no inflation happened here, but the times are changing and inflation has happened at New Dimensions Crystal. So look for the prices for individual sessions to go up. And it's still going to be a value thing. I think you're getting a lot of value and transformation for the cost that you are giving for each session. So look forward to that and make note. I know if you're a repeat customer, you might not pay attention to how much the little receipt says that it's going to cost when you get here. So just pay attention and don't be surprised when you come in for that. I think that is everything that I have to say. Wishing you all in Star Report land, happy New Year, blessed New Year, and until next time, everybody, many blessings.